A lot of Airbnb owners in Southern California are quietly switching to long-term rentals, not because Airbnb stopped working, but because the math and the workload are starting to look very different. If you're currently running an Airbnb in Southern California, this is something you should understand before deciding what to do with your property. At Good Life Property Management, we've been working with property owners across Southern California for over 13 years. And recently we've had a lot of conversations with property owners who are considering converting their short-term rentals into a long-term rental. For a long time, Airbnbs looked like the obvious choice for property owners. Higher nightly rates, tourism demand, and flexibility with the property. But the reality for many Airbnb hosts is that running an Airbnb can feel a lot like running a little hotel. You're constantly dealing with guest messages, cleanings, property maintenance in between stays, restocking supplies, and bookings that can fluctuate depending on the season. On top of that, cities like San Diego have introduced stricter short-term rental regulations, and for some investors, the combination of the workload and regulations has them rethinking their strategy. Long-term rentals may not have the same potential peak income that short-term rentals do, but they offer something different: stability. Rent arrives every month, tenant turnover is far less frequent, and the operational workload is significantly lower. Something many hosts don't understand is that the line between a short-term rental and a long-term rental is actually very specific. In San Diego, a property is considered a short-term rental when a guest stays less than 30 days. Once a tenant stays for one full calendar month or longer, the property is no longer classified as a short-term rental. And at that point, your property is considered a traditional residential rental. And that means different laws apply, including the California landlord-tenant laws and San Diego tenant protection laws. So converting your Airbnb isn't as simple as how you market it. You're actually changing the entire legal criteria and framework of how the property operates. If you're thinking about making the transition, there are 6 important steps you have to take. Step 1 is closing out your short-term rental obligations. That includes either honoring or canceling your existing bookings and surrendering your STRO license with the city and closing out your occupancy tax account. Step 2 is deciding whether you want your rental to be furnished or unfurnished. Unfurnished rentals tend to attract longer-term tenants and offer more stability, while furnished rentals can sometimes command higher rents but have higher turnover. Step 3 is preparing your property for long-term rentals. Short-term guests can create a lot of wear and tear between bookings that need to be addressed before you have a long-term tenant in your property. Step 4 is setting the correct rental price. This is where many Airbnb hosts make a mistake. You can't just take your nightly rate and multiply it by 30. Long-term rental pricings need to reflect the local housing market prices. Step 5 is properly marketing the property and screening your tenants carefully. And step 6 is using a legally compliant California lease. California landlord-tenant laws are extremely complex, so using a generic lease can cause a lot of issues if problems were to arise. So when you convert your Airbnb from a short-term rental to a long-term rental, the rules governing the property changes significantly. Short-term rentals operate under licensing and tax frameworks like San Diego's STRO system. Long-term rentals fall under California landlord-tenant laws and the city's residential tenant protection ordinances. These rules cover things like rent increases, eviction requirements, and tenant protection. So understanding the legal side of this transition is extremely critical before making that switch. If you're considering converting your Airbnb to a long-term rental, we've put together a detailed guide walking you through the entire process step by step. You can find the full guide on our Good Life Property Management blog or linked in the description below. And if you're a property owner in San Diego, Orange County, or Riverside and want help managing the transition from your Airbnb into a long-term rental, our team at Good Life Property Management can help you. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more landlord laws and property management tips. And if you have any questions about converting your Southern California Airbnb into a long-term rental, feel free to drop your questions in the comments below.